Job seekers should move to the regions. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Got my morning stein of coffee. I suggest you get yours, because this will be an interesting one. Let's have a look at this article from Yahoo Finance. So, job seekers who are fearing payment cuts should go to the regions. Now, when I saw this, I instantly went to the good old of Mice and Men. Now, if you haven't read it, I recommend you have a look at it, or watch the movie, the old movie, not the new one. But it's a tale from the Great Depression, where two characters travel across America with a vain dream that they never reach. I think a fitting tale, and probably one that all of us were forced to read back in school. That's the way. It's the way it is. So, let's have a look at this. So, job seekers fearing payment cuts told to go regional. Go to the region. Go to the country, everyone. Go to the country. And I mean, this is an issue. Unemployment is skyrocketing, everyone. It's 7.4% according to the ABS. But if we jump over here, let's jump over here to another website. This is Roy Morgan, and they have the unemployment and underemployment and the combined unemployment-underemployment data, which they use, well, they've derived using their methodology. Their survey is slightly different to the ABS. Now, the ABS need to ensure that their methodology is consistent, so it compares with other data, but it's it's understood even by politicians that it isn't a realistic measure of unemployment. The general rule of thumb people say is double it. And I like the Roy Morgan approach. If we scroll right down to the bottom, you can see the combined underemployment and unemployment, according to the Roy Morgan, is at 23%, which is an improvement since last month. It's gone down from 24.5%. So unemployment, they're saying, is at 12.5%, much higher than the 7.4% that the ABS is saying. Underemployment has gone up to 10.5%. 10.5%. Now, moving to the regions. Could you do it? I know, well, there's discussions of a green change, of getting out. The problem is, there is work out there, but it's also becoming part of the community that can face a challenge. So let's have a look at this article. Australians struggling to secure work amid the pandemic should consider moving to regional areas, the Deputy Prime Minister has suggested. Responding to questioning around the planned cuts to JobSeeker as more than 1 million Australians fall into unemployment, Deputy Prime Minister Michael McCormack said that he appreciates that many people have lost their jobs. He told the ABC that the best form of welfare is a job, and that there are jobs in regional Australia. I know in my profession, the Institute of Architects here in Queensland, they were doing a campaign to get graduates to go and work in the regions, to go work far north. You could get jobs in beautiful areas, beautiful tropical areas, and work on a range of projects because they were struggling to get graduates. They were struggling to get students even to work, to do their year out up there, because everyone wants to stay in Brisbane or southeast Queensland, close to the beach. And I had colleagues who took the plunge, who went up there. It seemed to serve them quite well. So, and what we do need more of in this sector and this area is more mobility. What we do need is people being able to perhaps move to regional areas, something they might not have otherwise thought of. Now, one of the issues with mobility is our housing. Every time you sell, every time you buy, you give the government a chunk of that transaction. You pay them stamp duty. I was watching when I was at the title office. I didn't see them stamp anything. I was disappointed. We paid enough for that bloody stamping. You think they would have at least done it. So, I mean, it's a consideration. Maybe now is the time. Maybe it's the first. Well, I can guarantee you there'll be a lot of people from Victoria that are thinking, okay, I want to get out of the city. That I'm seeing it in the comments now, people wanting to leave. I had one viewer who he wants to go back to Europe. His wife is from European country, and he applied for an exemption to leave from Victoria. Remember, we read through all these emergency powers that the government in Victoria has implemented. He applied for an exemption to go over there to secure accommodation and sort everything up, because he's done. He wants to get out of Australia. And within 5 hours, he received an email back saying that he's not been approved. This exemption has been denied. Now, he's concerned that if he eventually gets approval, he and his wife and his family will have to, either be positive for the illness or have to, might get contained for 2 weeks before they leave, all these other things. Just shows you, everyone. Just shows you. People want to leave. Maybe this call for the regions isn't really going to be much of an issue, at least in Victoria. Where would you rather be, in the city or in the country? I had another viewer. He moved out further. He bought a little old church that was converted into one-bedroom studio out in the regions. Looked fantastic. Looked really good. Maybe I should do a video on that. All of people's green changes. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions. So there are many, many jobs in agriculture and the resource sector, indeed crying out for chefs, crying out for people to do all sorts of work. McCormick said the pandemic had proven that many Australians can work remotely, with many turning the kitchen bench into an office from March onward. Federal Parliament today returned with politicians tuning in remotely for the first time. Well, it's true, we can work remotely, but there's also an inherent risk of this. That means businesses can get used to people working remotely and to work potentially being offshored. It means that a whole lot of Australians may now have to compete on an equal footing with those overseas. And do we work as hard? Are we as cost effective? It can be a bit humbling. The Deputy Prime Minister said regional Australia has led the way in terms of relief as the mining, agricultural and construction sector has continued at a pace. There are many, many jobs in regional Australia. Treasury analysis released on Monday revealed that state border closures could wind back the recovery in jobs growth. The analysis found that more than half of the 1.3 million Australians who lost their job or had their hours reduced to nothing had since gotten work. But the continued business closures in Victoria and border closures across the state could undo all of that by September. Labor leader Anthony Albanese said this threat highlights why the scheduled cuts to JobKeeper should not go ahead. As it stands, JobKeeper payments are set to reduce from $1,500 a fortnight to $1,200 on the 28th of September for full-time workers and $750 for part-time workers before falling further in the new year. Well, there are some businesses that are getting JobKeeper that don't need it, that do not need it at all. And it would be insane for them to not take advantage of the situation. It's a commercial disadvantage. We've said there should be a tapering, but it's a matter of tapering based upon the circumstances, Albanese said. Now the circumstances that are there now with a double-digit real unemployment rate, and there you go, there's the difference between the ABS unemployment and the real unemployment, are very different from what was predicted by Scott Morrison when he said the support should be snapped back in September. So there you go. This V-shaped recovery, everyone, it's failed to materialize. What we don't want to see is a premature withdrawal of or reduction in support such that it makes the recession deeper and longer. Well, it's just going to stretch it out. It's just going to stretch out the recession. While these mechanisms are all in place, I would say it will have a limiting effect on confidence. If we have a look here, consumer confidence, it's going down again. Business confidence is down even though business conditions are up. Are you going to truly believe in a recovery while a big portion of the economy is supported by the government? Let me know what you think on that, because I'd say we can't really declare a recovery. We can't really imagine that we're having a bounce back until the support mechanisms are removed. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a cynical bastard, guys. There's a reason why the beard's getting grey every day. The Australian Council of Social Services also said the Treasury analysis shows why JobKeeper should be kept at its current $1,100 rate. Well, the problem is that's going to disincentivize people to work and then drive up the costs. The thing is, when you have two things, if you have minimum wage too high, or if you even have a minimum wage intervening in the market at all, that is going to mean that some people don't have the skill levels or the capacity to even get a work at that level, a job at that level. They may not be worth it. So then you need to have support mechanisms to support those people. That's what you have to do. You know, it's unethical. You can't set a minimum standard that you have to pay people, and then denigrate those who can't reach that standard or who can't work at that level, who'd be happy to work at a lower rate but can't legally do it. You've taken away their agency. The state's intervention has taken away their agency. So you have, if you've taken advantage of that, you have a moral obligation to take care of those that aren't at that level. That's why I'd argue it'd probably be smarter to remove some of these interventions to allow greater freedom and flexibility. I can't see there'd be political will to do it, though. Not in Australia. Not at all. No. Still, it needs to be discussed so at least people will think about it. You know? A cost CEO, Dr. Cassandra Goldie, said that as 2.3 million Australians rely on the unemployment payment, the planned tapering in September should not go ahead. Well, here's the other thing. You've got the minimum wage pricing some people out of it. Then you've got a welfare system which is too close to that minimum wage, so it disincentivizes working. And the problem is you can create a poverty trap where people aren't stupid. They're not going to work 40 hours for hardly anything. Then they get stuck in poverty. And the biggest risk is that you'll have intergenerational poverty. You'll have younger children that never have a role model to mimic. They've never seen someone work. Jobseeker was doubled in March as hundreds of thousands joined jobless queues, but is scheduled to reduce by 300 in September. The two payments, Jobseeker and JobKeeper, headline federal parliament's topics for discussion for the coming weeks as the government attempts to pass the legislation allowing both payments to continue beyond September. The government also wants to change JobKeeper eligibility requirements, allowing more businesses to claim the subsidy. Well, I thought they were going to make it harder for businesses to claim the subsidy, but allowing more in Victoria to claim it. We'll have to see. So there you have it, everyone. There you have it. Time for us all to head out to the regions. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Would you make the move? Would you go out to the regions? Would you want that farm in the distant future? That dream? As always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us by PayPal. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.